When Julius Caesar's armies surrounded the city of Utica in 46 BC, the Roman senator inside faced an impossible choice: surrender and live under a tyrant's mercy, or die free with his principles intact. What happened next would echo through history as one of the most powerful examples of uncompromising integrity ever recorded. Cato the Younger, the last great defender of the Roman Republic, chose death over dishonor, and his decision reveals 5 profound Stoic teachings that can revolutionize how you handle moral pressure in your own life. If this resonates with you, hit that like button right now. The first lesson Cato teaches us is that external circumstances never justify abandoning your core values. When Caesar offered amnesty to his political enemies, most senators rushed to accept. They rationalized that compromise was practical, that living to fight another day was wisdom. But Cato understood a fundamental Stoic truth: the moment you sacrifice your principles for convenience, you lose the very thing that makes life worth living. In your career, relationships, and daily decisions, you face similar moments. Your boss asks you to fudge numbers. Your friend wants you to lie for them. Society pressures you to go along with what you know is wrong. Cato's example shows us that these moments define who we are. The Stoics believed that virtue is the only true good, and everything else, wealth, safety, popularity, is indifferent. This doesn't mean these things don't matter, but they should never determine your moral choices. The second teaching involves understanding the difference between what we can and cannot control. Cato spent his entire political career fighting corruption in the Roman Senate. He gave passionate speeches, blocked corrupt legislation, and stood virtually alone against the tide of moral decay. Many called him stubborn, unrealistic, even foolish. But Cato knew he couldn't control the outcome, only his own actions and responses. This is the heart of Stoic wisdom. You cannot control whether you succeed, whether people like you, or whether your efforts bear fruit. You can only control your effort, your integrity, and your commitment to doing what's right. When you truly internalize this lesson, failure becomes impossible because you measure success by your adherence to virtue, not by external results. The third lesson Cato demonstrates is the power of leading by example rather than words. Throughout his career, he lived simply while others indulged in luxury. He walked barefoot through winter campaigns while other senators rode in comfort. He refused bribes that could have made him wealthy beyond measure. When the final moment came in Utica, he didn't give grand speeches about freedom and virtue, he simply embodied them completely. Your life is your message. People watch what you do far more than they listen to what you say. Every small choice to act with integrity, even when no one is watching, builds the character that will sustain you when everything is at stake. Subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a video that could change your life. The fourth teaching concerns the relationship between freedom and virtue. Cato understood that true freedom isn't political, it's moral. He had watched the Roman Republic die slowly as citizens traded their principles for security and comfort. By the time Caesar crossed the Rubicon, the spiritual death had already occurred years earlier in 1,000 small compromises. Cato's final act wasn't about politics or pride, it was about preserving the one thing that tyranny cannot touch: the human soul's capacity for moral choice. In our modern world, we face subtler but equally real threats to our inner freedom. Social media algorithms shape our thoughts. Consumer culture defines our values. Political tribalism hijacks our reasoning. The Stoic response is to guard your mental sovereignty as fiercely as Cato guarded his moral sovereignty. Your thoughts, judgments, and values must remain your own. The fifth and final lesson is perhaps the most profound: that death itself has no power over a life lived virtuously. Cato's contemporaries and historians for centuries afterward struggled to understand his choice. How could someone throw away life itself for abstract principles? But Cato understood what many miss: that some things are worse than death. Living as a compromised version of yourself, betraying everything you believe, becoming a symbol of surrender to tyranny. These represent a kind of spiritual death that makes physical death irrelevant. This doesn't mean we should be reckless with life, but rather that we should be conscious of what makes life meaningful. For the Stoics, meaning comes from virtue, and virtue comes from aligning your actions with your deepest values regardless of consequences. Cato's story resonates today because we live in times that test our integrity just as thoroughly as ancient Rome tested his. The specific challenges differ: career pressures instead of political corruption, social media mob mentality instead of military conquest, but the fundamental choice remains the same. Will you bend your principles to circumstances, or will you let circumstances reveal the strength of your principles? The Roman historian Tacitus wrote that Cato's death was the last act of the Roman Republic's drama. But in another sense, it was the first act of something timeless, a demonstration that the human spirit, properly cultivated through Stoic discipline, remains unconquerable regardless of external circumstances. Every time you choose integrity over convenience, truth over popularity, virtue over advantage, you honor Cato's legacy and strengthen the foundations of your own character. If this moved you, comment "The Citadel holds" below. It is our sign that you carry the philosophy with you. Subscribe and I will see you in the next one.